Well, good evening and welcome everyone to the final edition of a League One, hopefully forever, of a Fans React Friday. I'm Ben. I'm going to be hosting this evening, and we have some very distinguished guests on the channel joining us this evening, and a very, very special guest as well, who I will get onto last but not least. But Gary, how you doing, mate? You well?
I'm good, guys. Lovely to see you all. Last time I saw some of you, it was just before that glorious day in North London, just a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, I'm still glowing after that.
Yeah, I think we probably all are, Gary, to be fair. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've watched it back on Sky. It's just one of them things that I don't think's ever going to get old. Dom, how are you, mate? Are you well?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm very well. Sean, of course. How are you doing, bud?
I'm good. It feels like I've a lifetime since I last done one of these with you. Like it seems like I haven't done one for ages. But look, it's great to be here. I'm going to talk about not League One anymore, Championship, and then hopefully the Premier League in a couple of years, maybe. Good times. Good times.
Fingers crossed, Sean. And we've got a very special guest this evening. We are joined by the one and only Michael Bowers. Michael, how are you, mate? Thank you for joining us on this Friday.
I am doing very well. Thanks for having me on. And I'm sure that Sean is an absolute glory hunter, that he comes on here as soon as we're promoted. So, we'll blame him for that. But no, I'm doing very well. As the title suggests below, I was on Thane's channel recently and I put this on and I can't be bothered to change it because I just thought it sums up our feelings towards League One. So without wanting to swear, because I know you might want to keep this professional, bye-bye, get lost League One and shove it.
Why the sun don't shine.
Michael, I do have to remind you, you do keep upsetting on Twitter some of the fans of other clubs in League One.
Oh, no, Gary, remember, we're not allowed expectations, apparently. That's arrogant.
Yeah. Say nothing and you'd still be in the wrong.
No, everyone, you're absolutely right. The worst point in our entire history, 140 years, but we're absolutely delighted. Could be worse. Could be the conference. I'm hoping, I'm sure you guys can attest to this. I'm hoping we're forever seeing the back of that awful division. I used to hate it when everyone said, oh, it's a tough league. No, it's not. It's garbage. It's competitive, but it's not a good league. Come on. Chris Maguire scored a hat-trick against us, for goodness sake.
I've just put that to the back of my mind as well, Michael, and now you've just so kindly refreshed that he
I will say sorry, but I'm not.
No, I know you're not. But thankfully now, hopefully for the future, we are League One free and will forever be retaining ourselves back at the top of English football. But I guess we can start. We've got a lot to get through, a lot of chat, I'm sure. So we might as well get straight into it. So I think first of all, we've got to talk about the night before, haven't we? Trafalgar Square. Obviously, I wasn't able to go there, but I know a few of you were there, and I just wanted to shout out Sean. I watched probably about 2.5 hours of it. It was just quality. Incredible. The footage you gave, some cracking interviews. I mean, I don't know if you want to say a little bit about it and how you put up with it for that amount of time.
Sean, before you say out, you just go like, "Yeah, Morgan, you're gonna get yourself run over." Excuse me, do you know where Trafalgar Square is? I've never laughed so hard in my life. Sorry, Sean, that was just brilliant.
But a big shout out to Dave Punchin, because we're on the tube and we decided to get off at I think it was the stop before. So we ended up, I think he said that it was going to be a 5-minute walk to the to Trafalgar Square, but it was about 20 minutes, which is at Sing. So I was setting all my equipment up on the actual train, got everything set up. But I don't know if you've noticed, just I'll quickly mention this. Now, the microphones, for some reason, I had 2 microphones connected, but I think one of them was just picking the audio up. But I think it was something to do with this lead here. For some reason, I don't know. It's just a different lead, but I use that lead, and normally I use the other lead that's in there now. But for some reason, there was one microphone connected in there. But look, it still picked the sound up. Like, but it was when I eventually got there. I think it fills you with pride when you say like the Sunderland fans. I mean, there was probably about 20,000 there, and You know, we were all having a great time, flares. It was just it was an unforgettable feeling when you see just everybody just enjoying themselves, and you know, it shows you how much this football club just means to the people of Sunderland, and not just Sunderland, but we've got supporters all over the country. Like people say, oh, you're not a Mackham if you're not from Sunderland, but look, we've got supporters all over the country, Manchester, Leeds, you know, up and down everywhere, and they'll follow us, and that's why we are such a special club as well. But like you see, the Trafalgar Square night was. I had some characters like on the interviews. There's been a few played back on social medias. Obviously I'm not on Facebook, Instagram, but on Twitter there's been a few. But I don't know if you've seen them on where Dom first come on, and he went, "I'll reach on that eye." He went, "I'm effing steaming. I've been on the train since 7 o'clock." I was like, "Oh God." No,
I'd love to know if that person lasted the weekend.
It was funny, like, but no, it was a great night. You know, like I say, I haven't been drinking for like the last 14 months, and I was all right that night, to be fair. But there was a lot of people that was just, you know, having a great time, and it was a special night, and you know, obviously for the channel, I think, obviously watching it back, it was jumping a little bit at the start, but then. When I actually got to Trafalgar Square, it was actually really good. It didn't even stick once through the whole of the tours, and that bear in mind as well. Do you know where I got really crowded? Like I was getting more and more full. I walked through the bottom bit where everybody was, you know, it was getting really full, and I walked through there, and I said, "I'll just try," and I was like. There's just loads of people throwing beer around, and then there's obviously a few people singing, and then people start singing. Beer was getting thrown around, and oh, it was just crazy. Like, but I got about a quarter of the way, and I says, "No, no chances. I'll just leave it and I'll come back." But it was a great night, and that just set the tone. And I was thinking, you know, it was just unbelievable feeling, and you know, that was the beginning of one of the greatest weekends you'll ever have in your whole entire life as a Sunderland fan. That just started it off.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Watching you, Sean. I mean, you did a fantastic job, mate. But it was just incredible viewing, like that way when you started. You know, Michael said you were walking to the train station, going, "Oh, where's Trafalgar Square, mate?" And everyone you asking just didn't want anything to do with you.
The best bit when he was walking was when he was gone, "Yeah, man, you'd ever think that people in London would know what Trafalgar Square is."
Yeah. And what I couldn't figure out was how that many people live in a place like in London, like where we were. Not one of them knew where it was. There was a couple of eventually helped us, but I was just thankful that I was actually walking down the right road, because Dave and Trav and that they just steamed ahead. I don't know where them went, so I was just hopeful that I was actually walking in the right direction. But I'm thinking back to my, I was laughing. I got to the end of the road. I was obviously live, and then Matthew and Paul tried to come to the stream, and they were trying. I was saying to Matthew, "I'm outside of was it Tottenham Street or something? I can't remember exactly where it was. I was trying to like ask him where I was. Then he went, 'Solid till I die.' He started singing that. He said, wasn't even listening to the word I was saying. He was just. But it was a good laugh.
Oh, it certainly was, and I mean, like you say, Sean, it sort of just tipped off the start of a fantastic weekend, didn't it? So I guess we got to talk about the match itself. I mean, not that I can recall the majority of it, obviously, you know, a bit of the build up and that, but I remember the most important bits. But I mean, Gary, I'll come to you first. I mean, the result was the most important thing. Never mind how good or blinding the football was. The main thing was to win the match, which we did. Obviously, 2-0, Embleton and Stewart. Just want to get your take on what a fabulous Wembley experience.
It was, and do you know what the weirdest thing for me? Well, not for me. For actually, I'll speak now on behalf of Sunderland supporters of a certain age. So, you know, I was just a kid when we brought the cup back in '73. So from an early age, you kind of, you know, told the stories of Wembley and Sunderland beating Leeds and, you know, upsetting the apple cart and all the rest of it. Glorious pictures of Bobby Kerr, Jimmy Montgomery. So I was brought up with that, you know, literally earliest memories of my life. And I'd been to Wembley 6 times before, and every single time come away massively disappointed. Couldn't wait to get away from the place. Miserable journey home. The first 3 times I went, we didn't even score a goal. And then there was the Charlton playoff in '98. Horrible experience. I think it's been said, isn't it? Wembley, no place for losers, and that definitely applies. So the weirdest thing for me is I never felt we were in danger. Even when they pressed us at the start of the second half, we got an early goal. I thought we played well. I thought, all credit to Alex Neil. We know what we're going to get with Wickham. Even when they brought Akin Fenwer on, I didn't feel as though we were under any pressure. And I've got to say, the second goal, was it the 78th minute, 76th minute, something like that? Yeah. 79. And I mean, there's certain times in life where you just wish you could slow it down, go into slow motion, and kind of just take it all in. For me, I had my two youngest kids with me. They just went bananas. I had a bottle of Sprite in my hand, and they take the tops off in the ground, so you can't have the top. And I basically ended up on top of the bloke in front of me. Ended up absolutely soaked in sticky lemonade. I don't think he cared. I didn't care. It just everything went up. Everybody went bananas, and I think at that point we all knew we'd done it. And so not only did we win, but those last 10 minutes, it was just party time, wasn't it? All the old standards were coming out, everybody celebrating, hugging each other, and it just felt like a curse had been lifted. It wasn't the fact that we're getting out. Well, getting out of League One, clearly a big thing. It's the playoffs that we failed in, whatever it is, 6 times before. But it's the Wembley curse in front of Sunderland fans. To get rid of that, that was just total relief and lovely feeling coming away from the ground, having won a football match and seeing Sunderland fans on the tube and on the train home. We took over King's Cross, hugging complete strangers and the crack and everything. It's a joyous thing, and it's hard to put into words, but I loved it. It'll stay etched on my mind for a long time. So yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Can't say any more about it.
No, I mean, we're all sitting there smiling, just sort of recollecting that day. It was just, it was immense. Wasn't it? I mean, I saw you on Sky. I must admit, when you watching it back, I saw a couple of drunk boys singing their hearts out. But what was your take on the game, mate?
To be honest, when I first woke up on Saturday morning, I just normally on the day of a big game, you feel like the nerves hit you instantly. From the minute I woke up, I just felt very calm and collected, like not overly confident, like, oh, we're going to tear these a new one or whatnot. I just felt like it was our day, if that makes sense. I was like, everything, the weather's beautiful. There's just seas of red and white every corner of London. Just everywhere you look, the signs seem to point our way. And then pre-match, like, there was no bother. Everyone just had smiles on their faces. It was just like really feel good. Then you go in. It was just that first Wise Men Say, by the way, was just a thing of beauty. Just hearing everyone. I think that's the first time after you said this to me. I think that's the first time since we've endorsed the song that all of the fans have actually said it all at the same time instead of like skipping ahead in the song. It was just like it was perfect. And then for the Embleton goal, I remember just seeing it. Like, I was like, oh well, that's the easiest save of life. And from where we were sat, it looked like it went through Stockdale's hand, and we were all like, oh my god. It just came out of nowhere. Like, we were obviously comfortable. We had big chances like Pritchard's free kick before, where we just looked completely in control. And the second one, Stewart's, like, it felt like years in between him shooting and it going into the back of the net. It was just like, everyone was just like, come on, just get past the line. I want to try. I remember I've got a similar story to the bottle cap because, first of all, £3 for a bottle of water in Wembley. It's an absolute disgrace. But I bought 2. The first one got knocked over the first goal, and the second one, Matthew actually hugged me so hard I got lifted, kicked the second one, and I ended up a row in front, squashing some poor lad. And Matthew had to basically airlift me back to my seat. I just remember I didn't even see either celebrations. I just remember hearing just a raw sea and red smoke everywhere, and just seeing the sky at Wembley. And I just remember I was like, I wasn't even bothered. I couldn't say. I was just like, just keep me in this moment forever. It's just, I don't think I've ever been more proud to be a Sunderland fan than just that the knowing that we were in control and we were actually gonna lift the curse, as you've said. It was just a lovely moment.
Yeah, I mean, it was just incredible, just thinking back, it's incredible. I mean, Sean, what was your take on it? A bit nerve-wracking, a bit nervy, or were you calm like Don was?
No, I was. To be fair, I was actually calm. I think, like in the build-up to the game, I think Alex Neil. I think he was the one. I think me might have spoke about this a lot. I think Alex Neil gave us that belief that we had finally had a manager. I'm a pig going about the records when you lose at Wembley. Obviously, since Big Sam Allardyce, your managers, you've had David Moyes, you've had Simon Grayson, you've had Chris Coleman, you've had Jack Ross, Phil Parkinson, Lee Johnson. But you've got to be careful to say about Lee Johnson because people are very touchy about him. You can't call Lee Johnson. You can't call him Super Lee Johnson. Yeah, but going to the game, I felt so relaxed and so confident that we would win. And I know Gareth Ainsworth is a good manager, and Wickham on the day that can be very physical. But I just had that belief that you look at the games like building up to the playoffs, and we were the form side. I think we were 15 games unbeaten going into the playoffs. Sheffield Wednesday, obviously they were a side that was playing well as well. But we're, over the two legs, I think we did deserve to go to Wembley. And then, I mean, out of all the teams, if you could pick one team to play in the final, out of the playoffs, you'd have took Wickham, wouldn't you? Because I mean, MK Dons on the day, the good side on the day, Sheffield Wednesday good side on the day, but Wickham was that team. And I think of the two games we played this season, it was 3-3. We should have won down there. We should have beat them down there at Adams Park, and I think was a 3-1 up there. I think it was.
3-1, yeah.
So I knew what a good record, and I felt so confident, and Alex Neil, he made a big call as well by dropping Clark for Embleton, and for me, Embleton, he can score you a goal right out of nothing, which he's proved. But for me, Embleton, it's his work rate off the ball. What I'm a big fan of. But look at every call that Alex Neil's made, he's getting it right, and he obviously he dropped Clark and he brought Embleton in, and Embleton got that goal. I mean, yes, it was a mistake by the goalkeeper. It was definitely a mistake. It was straight at him. You can see it swerved a little bit, but look at if Lee Burge done that, or other keepers, like they'll be crucified on this. So look at it was a keeper error. The keeper should say, but who cares? That set the tone for us, and it settled us down as well. And I said to Michael, if we can get the first goal, we'll relax. My worst fear was them getting, because once they've got a goal, they'll just defend and just time waste, and make it really hard. But when we got that goal, it just calmed us down. And I think I was never in any worry that would they would come back. But there was a couple of nervy moments with Bailey Wright when he went ahead of the ball. He totally misjudged it.
Oh yeah.
Remember that one? As a Vokes, I think, was on the end of it, and I think Patterson come out well. But
he did, yeah.
Yeah, I thought we played some good stuff, and Roberts as well down the right. He just always looked dangerous, and I think the second goal come from it was great work on the right from, I think, Pritchard and Roberts, and then Pritchard obviously was coming off at that point as well. He was just come off and he played the ball to Stewart, and I think the finish by Stewart was good. I think the keeper just misjudged it and he sent him the wrong way. But look at it again, who cares? That was icing on the cake. When you knew, I think at that point, even all the most fans who it's hard to play them, or the hard to believe. I think even when we scored that second goal, people were starting to believe that this is going to be our day. And I think the noise and the atmosphere in the last 5 minutes was something else. It was an unforgettable feeling, and something that'll live with you for forever. Really, it's been a Sunderland fan, and it was a great day.
Sean, can I just quick one on Embleton? Obviously, this thing about chances even out, or good luck, bad luck evens out over a season. How many times has Embleton hit the post this season? He hit the post against Arsenal. Remember, he bent it in. He's done it at least twice, maybe 3 times at Stadium of Light, where he's hit the post or he's cut in and it's not quite worked out. When he's running through there, I'm thinking he's going to have a dig. And I didn't realise, because where we were sat, just, how wrong the keeper got it. But you know what? He deserved that look. Because the rest of the season, he's not had it. And a homegrown lad
against Wickham at their place as well.
I don't want to hit Michael.
No, I'm saying he hit the post against Wickham in January as well. If you remember, the 3-3 down Adams Park.
I don't remember that, but he's had that kind of season, hasn't he? So if anybody deserved the look, why not Embo? So I'm chuffed for him.
Oh, definitely, yeah, 100%. I agree with that, Gary.
Yeah, I mean, I think he hit the post or the bar against Plymouth as well in that sort of last game of the season, didn't he? Sort of that effort on his left, held it on the bar. So I think, like you say, Gary, well deserved. I think, we were all sort of looking at the start, looking at the team sheet, thinking, oh, Embleton's been you're right there, Sean.
Zero sugar. I'm just it's
what is that, Monster?
Monster, 0 sugar. 10 calories.
Are you trying to say, Monster, feel free to sponsor Fans React for next season?
10 calories per can.
He seems to have moved on from Rich Energy, which is interesting.
Love it.
Definitely.
But so, Michael, I'll come to you, mate. I mean, were you a bit surprised that saw Embleton started over Clark?
Yeah, initially I was, but because I felt that, but it's not actually beyond the realms of Alex Neil to change a team slightly, is it? And at the end of it, I suppose this decision to start Embleton paid dividends. Like Sean said, I was worried about conceding the first goal because you know what Wickham are like when they tend to get a lead, and it would have been, I dread to think what the game would have been like if we conceded first. It's funny because I think it was Jace Ashman said, obviously, I think he's having a little bit of a dig where he says 46 clean sheets next season. Not quite, mate. Not quite. But I want to be validated on this. We stop conceding goals. What happens? We get promoted. So just to put it out there. But in saying that, I agree with Sean. Across the course of the whole day, apart from probably the chance Sam Vokes had when Bailey Wright was unlucky with the mistiming the flight of the ball, did Wickham do anything? Not really. I think that, and that's not meant to be disrespectful to them because we didn't let them do anything. We were solid, and we controlled most of it. And if you look at it, like Sean said, the fact we took the lead and then got the second one, Wickham then had to come out and play open because they had to try and get back in the game. And there was at least 2 or 3 occasions where it was literally defend, pass out, down the wings, and then we nearly had a chance to score. We murdered them on the break towards the end. It was just we didn't finish our chances off. But the day itself, as you guys have alluded to, was just great all round. It was great just to see so many Mackhams there. And to be fair, from Wickham's perspective, it was good for them to have 20,000. I think it was 20,000. I'd like to hope it was 20,000, even though I've got no doubt some of them would have been Newcastle fans. But the majority of them, the good majority of them, would have been Wickham fans. So it's good for them because they missed promotion a couple of years ago when they obviously beat Oxford. I know Sean's not a big fan of the way they got promoted 2 years ago, although it doesn't particularly bother me too much. But regardless, it's good for them to have seen a game at Wembley. Yeah, well, I think the only one that didn't mind it actually. But anyway, point is, it was good to finally end the playoff hood. It was great to finally end our stay in this league. Well, hopefully permanently. But still, but again, like Sean said with Alex Neil, we said this loads of times. I had the confidence that because it was Alex Neil, that we would do it. And Sean can back me up here, so I'm going to act like a smug, without trying to swear, smug idiot. Didn't I say, Sean, loads of times in the group chat? It was me, you, and him, and another lad called Dave Lawrence is on What the Folk. By the way, subscribe, great podcast. But we were in a group chat together, and I said numerous times in the build-up to the playoffs, we finish in the playoffs, we're going to win them. Yeah. Because we had the momentum, we were scoring the late goals, we had Alex Neil at the helm, we had the quality. Contrary to what some people like to say, we actually did have the quality to do it. And I think it's... And again, if you look at, and I think we deserved it, especially when you go against Sheffield over 2 legs. Bearing in mind they had the best home form in the division, I think we fully deserved to go up on that front.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt.
Ben can quote the live chat because there's loads of people like commenting a minute.
I was Just about to do that,
Oh,
Sean.
right, okay, I'll let you
The
go.
words out of my mouth. So I'll quickly dive in. Joanne Punchin's here. Acacia, our favourite Sheffield Wednesday fan. Hope you're all right.
That's not me saying that for once.
DJ Sizzler in the house.
Yeah, DJ Lauren Kenny, Lewis Watson, Trisha. I'm guessing that's Dave the Rave saying get the rave on. We are Sunderland.
That's it.
So hello, Dave. Moises Montero, Steve Flounders is in. We got Kev, we got Gary. Chris Scott saying announced the permanent signing of Michael Bowers. The fans react. We'll see how that one goes.
He's not the only one who's been saying that. Sean's been trying to give off subtle hints, put it that way.
Oh well, maybe we'll try and convince you.
Get the scarf, Michael, don't we?
Craig's in, James, and a few others as well in there. So, I mean, you touched on it slightly there, Michael. So I guess I'll come back to you. I guess we've got to talk about Alex Neil, haven't we? Sort of give a whole section to this man that has really turned around our football team. I mean, 18 games played, 10 wins, 7 draws, and 1 loss in that time. Pretty incredible, really. I mean, Michael, what do you think is, how do you view the job that he's done since he's come in?
Tremendous. Now we've got promoted and fulfilled our objective at long last. I think you can say, he's done tremendously. I know Sean's not Lee Johnson's biggest fan, but I'm going to quickly mention him that I think there were aspects of Lee Johnson that I did like a lot. I liked some of the football we did try to play, and he has to get a slight bit of credit for this because he did play a part in the season that we got promoted. Even though I think if he'd stayed, I think we would have got the playoffs, but I don't think we would have won them because I think mentally we wouldn't have been strong enough. And the biggest thing that Alex Neil's done for me is that he's toughened us up mentally considerably. He's made us a lot. He made us a lot harder to beat because Lee Johnson under him, we scored quite a good number of goals, but we just didn't defend properly. We never usually did half the time. And Alex Neil, we had the pragmatism about him, and ultimately he's came in and done what his 3 predecessors in League One were tasked with and failed to get done, which was to get us out of the division. And Alex Neil to do that in 3 months when we've lost 1 game in 18. He hasn't even had a transfer window. In terms of signing players, it's not his team, even though I think there was quality in that team to get promoted in the first place. I think he deserves endless praise for that. And now his stock's very high because he's the one that's got us promoted. So if we can keep him, and I think he will stay. I'd like to hope he'll stay anyway, but providing that he doesn't leave because of this rolling contract thing or whatever, I'll be very excited to see what we can do next season. I can tell Sean's wanting to say something. Here we go. Come on, Lee Johnson debate. Go on.
Lee Johnson got mentioned. He was there with his fingers.
He's like, Lee Johnson is the worst manager ever. Since Max Power is the worst midfielder ever.
It's in regards to the Lee Johnson thing. I think, as Michael, you've just said there, if the season had went on and Lee Johnson had still been the manager, I honestly think the way the league panned out, I think we would have the results. We went on that run. I don't think Lee Johnson was capable of that, and we had to go on that run to finish just in the playoffs on the last game of the season. I honestly believe the way the league panned out, we wouldn't have made the playoffs. And I think people who are saying Lee Johnson deserves some of the credit is, if he'd stayed, we wouldn't have been in this league. We wouldn't be in the championship. We would still be in League One as far as I'm concerned. So the reason I'm saying is people are saying, he's got to give him some credit, but I don't understand that because if he'd stayed, we would have been in this league. So if the board didn't sack him when they sacked him, you know what I mean, and we didn't bring in Alex Neil in, we wouldn't have gotten promoted. Do you get what I'm saying, Michael?
Well, Sean, put it this way, we were third when he left.
And you can't see it. It's like with the Pritchard thing. I think Alex Pritchard, yes, fair enough. And Dan's said that a few times in the group chat. Alex Pritchard, he did convince Pritchard to come to the club, yeah. But all the other signings was Speakman. They are Speakman. He made the signs, and obviously, and I was going to ask Lee Johnson if he agrees with him. But
I mean, look, like I said, I didn't particularly mind Lee Johnson, but I've ultimately said, David agrees with you that didn't think they would have got the playoffs. I disagree. I think we would have got the playoffs, but I don't think we would have got promoted. So ultimately, there's not much point in finishing in the playoffs if you don't get promoted. So it's the same thing. We basically wouldn't have gone up because I just think the mentality would have been wrong. The instant something goes against us.
Michael, yeah.
Lads, my view on those two, Johnson versus Neil, is I think Johnson is a very good coach. In terms of his style of play, getting young players playing in a certain way. We played some fantastic football. I don't think he's a team manager, a manager of a group of people
to be fair. Yeah.
who need to be, mentally strong, as we said, to get through the playoffs, to get promoted. Alex Neil is a man manager. He's in charge of that group. You never any doubt of it, are you? I love his pragmatism. He's got no nonsense style, and it feels as though he's the right man for us. And I think that he took Johnson's team effectively, added some steel, added some resolve, didn't change much in terms of personnel, but you kind of felt he got the best out of that group, where I'm not sure Johnson could have done. That's the biggest,
the biggest thing to sort of compare them is Johnson. If you look at a specific game, look at Rotherham away. That game specifically, Johnson had the mindset of, oh, it's okay, it doesn't matter that it's Rotherham, we'll just go and out football them. Oh, we've lost 5-1. That went well, didn't it? The point is, I think one of the biggest criticisms of Johnson is that apart from not organising a team defensively, he didn't seem to change his style of play. He didn't seem to be pragmatic enough for certain games. So if you look at like this particular game, like games like Sheffield away, there's an example. We wouldn't have been pragmatic under Johnson, and I wouldn't have bet against the fact we would have got smashed. If you look at the same way Wigan away, don't be shocked if we'd have lost 4 or 5-0 the minute something goes against us. So again, it's that mental steel and to grit that Alex Neil's put into the team that's ultimately got us over the line. And as you guys have said, for a campaign like the playoffs, that's what you need. And ultimately, finishing in the playoffs, the only way that was good enough is if we won them, which obviously, thankfully, we have. I'm not disputing it. Neil is 100% a better manager than Johnson. My point was, even as someone who didn't mind Johnson, ultimately, the decision to sack Lee Johnson, which was questioned at the time, has proved to be the right one because we got promoted at the end of the season.
But this is what I don't understand. Like, look, I respect your opinions, lads, Gary and Mike. Like, you sort of like Lee Johnson. But what I don't understand is that obviously Jack Ross got us to the playoff final. He failed. He had, no matter which way you look at it, that squad he had, he should have been promoted. We shouldn't have been in the place. We should have finished top 2 with that squad of players. He had Jack Ross. Yeah, he is a failure as a Sunderland manager. I think what saves Lee Johnson's arse is the fact that he got sacked, and people say, well, what if this happened or what if that happened? Yeah. Well, if Lee Johnson stayed, I'll tell you something now, there's no way would have been promoted. Not a fucking chance would have been promoted. So you've got to give whoever sacked them at the right time. I mean, look there. People say, oh, Lee Johnson, we won 5-0 against Sheffield Wednesday. Look, it was a great night. We played some great stuff, some great football. Yeah. But then you get beaten 5-1 at Rotherham, 6-0 at Bolton, and then you got the manager saying, "Oh, well, look, don't worry about it, lads. It's just a game of football. We'll sort it out on the." You know what I mean? You just didn't see that, do you?
Do you know, I'm starting to wonder here. I wonder whether Sean dislikes Jack Ross more than Lee Johnson or the other way around.
No, I'm just saying how does Jack Ross get ratified and Phil Potton get crucified, but then Lee Johnson, it's he's done this and he done nothing. He done nothing at our club. He done absolutely
incorrect. Football. He won us the Papa John's trophy. He won us the Pizza Cup.
Lee Johnson done nothing at all as our club. He shouldn't have been appointed. It was right when he was sacked. He should have been sacked. He should have been sacked games before that. You know, I remember Lee Johnson and the 6-0 defeat, the worst defeat in our club's history in the third tier of English football. That's Lee Johnson. Thanks, Lee. That's my memories of you, mate. Thank you.
Do you know what? Right. To be fair, it's beaten for me. Funnily enough, result of the regular season probably was that 5-0 against Sheffield. Certainly the home result of the season. But Sean's right there. It's no good winning 5-0 if you're just going to undo all that in the next game and lose 6-0. You've wiped out your goal difference. So you know.
What was the name of the day again?
Sorry.
How many energy drinks has he had?
Sean.
No sugar, Gary. No sugar.
Gary,
remember.
Gary, you should see what he's like driving to an away game. He's on like 10 Red Bulls by the time you've even left Middlesbrough.
There should be on a warning on the side of that tin. Do not mix with Lee Johnson. Because he's off. He's gone.
That's it. You should see how mine says bye-bye League One. Sean just go, I hate LJ.
No, but it's like on Twitter. Honestly, on Twitter, it's like, you know, I put Twitter the other day, and I thought to myself, I'm not getting involved in any arguments about it. Look at, you can say, well, we didn't know it. Sean, you can say, well, you didn't know what was going to happen because he could have gotten us promoted and this, that, and the other. He wouldn't have, man. He wouldn't have. And I just try to be respectful with people and to say, look, I don't agree with you, but I respect your opinion. You just move on because you just be arguing all day.
Sean, just remember, so that bloke had a go at you after was it the Fleetwood game and said, "Hey, it was your fault that Lee Johnson got sacked." So apparently Sean makes all these decisions. Honestly, honestly, someone had a go at Sean after we beat Fleetwood 3-1 and said, "Oh, it's your fault on your YouTube channel why Lee Johnson got sacked." And I thought that's just a load of tosh. For want of a better word. Like, I don't think the people of the Sunderland board's going to go, "Hey, that bloke who interviews people on Fans, what was it, Fan TV? Oh, Fans React. Yeah. He doesn't like Lee Johnson. Oh, I know. Let's sack him then." Just because Sean Middleton, the guy with the cap, doesn't like him.
I mean, it's certainly an interesting debate because I know, I was listening to something with Kevin Phillips after the game, and he actually credited Lee Johnson to say that, he did a good job. He sort of got it going really, and then Neil's just come in and sort of finished the job. I mean, Dom, I'll ask you this. Seems as everyone else has had a little bit of chip in about it. What do you think? Sort of LJ, Vic, Neil. What's your thing?
In fact, like, you can say whatever you want about ifs, buts, maybe. This is absolute, isn't it? Like, we got at the end of the day, we've got promoted. Alex Dale got us promoted. Lee Johnson did get sacked because at the end of the day, it's true what everyone says. It's like we get hammered and you go, "Oh well, we'll just do better, won't we?" And then we never did. And then you come in first game, drawing away at Wimbledon. Neil comes in, he's like, "Well, the people I've been given are all knackered, so what do you expect me to do? So don't bother complaining." So it's like, it was kind of then where you knew, right, well, we know who's going to be the better leader out of the two. Personally, I think under Johnson this season, we did play very good football. Like, first few games of the season, like the Wickham game comes to mind, where we did play some very attractive football. But after the Portsmouth game, where we got tonked 4-0 in the rain, we did slowly start like be figured out. And the thing, I may be wrong on this, but like the way I say it is that Johnson kind of had like no backup plan. Like, if he got found out, it's like, "Oh well, we'll just hope that no one else finds us out." But with Neil, I think he just had, when it comes to substitutions, Neil is just so clever. Like, I'm gonna even say, I'm responsible for like slagging off saying like, make a change, and then he'll leave it until he knows when he doesn't like bring someone on for the case of, "Oh, go give yourself 20 minutes. He brings someone and when he thinks there needs to be a change. He's like, he's tactical. Obviously, you've got to be tactical to be a manager if you want to be a good one, but like his tactical mind is just far superior, I think, because he just knows how to win football matches. I mean, since he's come in, we've only conceded 11 goals. So like, he has tightened up that defense, and I don't think Johnson would have been able to do that personally. But at the end of the day, we don't know whether Johnson 100% would have got us promoted. Personally, I don't think he would have. Before Sean, you start, I don't think he would have. But like, at the end of the day, Neil did, and I'm happy, and we're in the championship. So.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much bottom line. I think is there anything else you want to say on the topic of Johnson, Sean, so we can sort of push that to the side?
Go on, get it out of your system, lad.
Go on, you might as well get it out now before we move on. Now's your chance.
Imagine him going, "Well, I didn't like the way he talked in interviews. I thought his beard was scruffy. I thought his mustache was just like an evil twirling villain
too
mustache.
Short for me."
Yeah, he was an absolute midget. He danced around like a clown.
People think I have an issue with these managers, like with Jack Ross. People said, "Oh, Sean, you've got a problem with Jack Ross. Oh, Sean, you've got a problem with Lee Johnson." No, I've got a problem because I'm not a crap. Do you know what I mean? That's the bottom. That's the top and bottom of it. I know they're not good enough. Do you know what I mean?
Ultimately, they had one remit, which was to get us up, and they failed. So that's fair.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And Jack Ross, I mean, he's managing Scotland now, and you've got Lee Johnson's even went up there Scotland because that's probably his level. You know what I mean? They're never going to be good managers. They're never going to succeed. But they got the Sunderland manager's job. Why did they get the Sunderland manager's job? Because you've got Charlie Meffin, Stuart Dunn, and Juan Sartori as your owners, and then make the decisions. That's why you get incompetent managers like that. Yeah. But then we're finally getting a man who can control a football team in Alex Neil. And you look at the 18 games, 1 defeat. I think we finished the season on, what was it, Michael? 16 games, 17 games unbeaten.
16 games unbeaten, 1 loss in 18.
I'm saying it's just that we had to go on that run to just finish in the playoffs. That's how.
Like I keep saying as well, it just goes to prove that defending's just as important as going forward, because ultimately we've got promoted. What happens when we stop conceding stupid goals? We go up.
Yeah.
So I don't just go on about clean sheets for no good reason. There is a reason I talk about it.
I know, and I mean, Neil, he's certainly done that as soon as he came in, hasn't he? With our guy Corey Evans, just anchoring that little midfield area, doing his job. Danny Back coming in, Bailey Wright. They look like rejuvenated players under Neil. I don't know about you fellas, but
that's got to be a fans react first. 41 minutes in for mention Corey.
I know usually it's about 10 minutes, isn't it? Fair, but. No, I mean, he did what he said he's going to do. He says, I'm going to come in, I'm going to shore up the defence. And he did. And he's done that. And now for the result of that, we've got all the way to Wembley and we're now in the Championship. So, full credit needs to go to him, absolutely. So I did want to talk a little bit about the players. Obviously, the retained and released list came out shortly after the game. Obviously, the notable sort of people that have been released, you got McGeady, you got Zamajli, Jordan Willis, Lee Burge, and a few sort of the younger ones, sort of Tyrese Dice as well, Will Harris, who I've seen quite a lot of. He's been released, Stephen Byrne as well. I'll sort of come to you, Gary. I mean, any sort of surprises in there, or maybe people that you thought might have been released that haven't? What's your view on that sort of thing?
I think we knew McGeady was going. On a personal level, gutted. He's been one of my favourite Sunderland players, maybe for the last 10 years or so. Love McGeady, love some of the moments he gave us. Sorry to see him go, but if he wants to carry on playing, he might still be able to do a job for somebody, whether it's off the bench or otherwise. I would have liked to have seen Jamajli given another go, because I thought he did pretty well in the games I did see. I think it was Fleetwood at home. He got taken off around half time, and maybe Neil lost a bit of confidence in him after that. Probably the one I was most surprised about was losing Jordan Willis. And I only say that because we extended his contract last year. Obviously, he was carrying injury. He's not played for us for the best part of 18 months. And having invested in the player to get him through his rehabilitation, the fact that we've let him go at the end of it was a bit surprising for me. I thought we maybe would have offered him or tried to keep him for a bit longer to see if he could get back to form. Because I think we all thought that with his pace and his reading of the game, he could have been an asset in the Championship. But, I presume Alex Neil's had something to say about it, and he's not for him. So sorry to see him go, particularly because of, the way his career at Sunderland ended. But I hope he gets fixed up and comes back stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the thing is with Willis is, two major knee injuries like that. I think it's, you look at even one of them coming back, you don't know if you're even going to be maybe 80% ready. Then another one on top of that, you just think, is he ever going to be that fully fit again? I really hope he is. He's, I did like him when he played, I thought he was quite good. So hopefully, he does get on the mend, and hopefully he'll be able to do the job with another club. But Sean, any surprises
on that? If he goes, but we get Dion Sanderson in, by the way, I will be absolutely delighted. So I know we're not talking transfers yet, but that would be a superb signing for me. I think Sanderson can quite easily do a very good job for us in the Championship, and we should really be trying to force that one through if we can.
Obviously on the retain list, Ben, who was I'm trying to think of the ones who went. It was Callum Doyle, Jack Clark, Nathan Broadhead, and Robert Thorman, Hoffman. I think obviously he's not coming back. Hoffman, I didn't really rate Hoffman as a goalkeeper, to be totally honest. I think Patterson's done an unbelievable job in goal since he come in. I think he's been brilliant, and I think I'm glad to see Hoffman sort of go back. I think Nathan Broadhead, I think people are saying about he could be coming back for. I think another year loan. I mean, I'll be happy with that. But for me, he's made of glass, isn't he? A little bit. He's a good player. Look, you can see he's a different gravy in League One. He's definitely Championship level, but it's just keeping him fit. That's the only sort of issue I've got with Broder. But I would love to see him come back 100%. I think there's plenty of players out of contract. Aidan McGeady, Ahmed Amaji, Jack McIntyre, Jordan Willis, Kenton Richardson, Lee Burge, Patrick Allman, Stephen Warren, Finney Steels, Will Grigg. I mean, Jesus, Will Grigg. That's been a.
Don't get me started on that waste of space.
Will Grigg. I mean, look on paper, it should have been a good signing. I mean,
I agree.
When we signed him, I just didn't understand how it didn't work out. But for me, I keep on seeing the first game when he went round the keeper against Blackpool, and he went round and he missed the open goal. I think he might have just played on his mind, and everything just crumbled in front of him. But I'm not really sad to see Will Grigg go, but offered contracts, obviously Bailey Wright, Lyndon Gooch and Patrick Roberts. I mean, out of them three, I'd like to be fair. I mean, me and Michael spoke about Gooch, and we spoke about Gooch at Wembley, and we've spoke about Gooch a while, but I was talking to Lyndon Gooch, and he said he hadn't been offered, but he must have just been offered one literally Wembley or just after the playoff final. So I wouldn't mind Bailey Wright, Gooch and Roberts signing a new deals. I mean, Bailey Wright, for me, in the Championship, he's got the experience, but I'd still like to see us bringing in a couple of centre-backs in. To be fair, I think we're going to need them anyway. And Patrick Roberts, I think Patrick Roberts can do a great job. I think he's seen the potential he's got, and I think under Alex Neil, I think he'll thrive in the Championship. So hopefully we can sign it with a new contract. And obviously the contracted ones, I'm not really going to read that list out because there's loads I put. That's my view on that, Ben.
Yeah. Michael, sort of anything that sort of stands out for you about it, or sort of just expected as planned, really?
Yeah, it's gone the direction I thought it would. I mean, on the three players that have been offered deals, keep all three of them, and I know that's but let me be with Gooch. I think it's a case of if you keep him as a squad player, then I think you could. I think I would be okay with that in the Championship. I'd be wanting a lot better than Gooch starting personally. The other two, I think, can cut it in the Championship, especially Roberts. I think Wright can, if you maybe have if it was Wright and Sanderson. Sanderson's got more youth experience with pace, and then Wright's got the experience. More than happy to keep the three of them. Not to mention, we can't go through We can't go through a phase where we get rid of nine times of the squad and have to replace every single one of them. We need to transition a little bit towards the Championship, and I think we have got a couple of players who I think are good enough for the Championship. So you have to ease it in a bit. As for the players that let go, I agree with. I think with Jordan Willis. It's the case. We just probably didn't think we could trust him to stay injury free for another season, and that's probably why we're letting him go. And with Gary though, I like Jordan Willis. I think even in League One, I think I don't know. When I watched him, I could tell there was something about Jordan Willis that I thought he was a really competent centre back. The other ones, fair enough. McGeady. Look, I love McGeady for the standards that he was one of the players that actually recognised that us being in this league is simply not acceptable, and it's not arrogant or disrespectful to say that. So, but at the end of the day, he's what, 36, 37? He's amongst that age now. So for him, and for the sake of his own career, if he wants to be playing football, he's going to have to be go somewhere where he's going to be playing regularly. If we hadn't gone up, I would have given McGeady another contract because I think in League One, I think he could offer something, even if he doesn't start every game. In the Championship, though, it'll just pass him by, sadly. Jamajli, I liked him, but again, only played a couple of games, and he needs to probably go somewhere where he's going to play regularly. So, no, I mean, in terms of the retain list, no, I think it's gone pretty much the way I expected it. But like Gary said, I think Dion Sanderson is someone we should be going all out to try and sign, in my opinion. I think he's easily good enough for the Championship, and I think granted, this is the Daily Mail, so there might be nothing in this, given its reputation, but I'll read it anyway. It basically says that us and Sheffield United are up tracking Dion Sanderson, and according to this, according to this, Wolves are open to selling or loaning him out. So, for me, I'd go for him, whatever it takes.
Yeah, I think probably the majority of us would, how good he was, when he was with us, him and Luke O'Nien for that stage at centre-half. Probably had one of our best runs for a little while. So, I mean, I've got a section on this, so we might as well come on to it now. So, obviously, you know, we're finally back in the Championship. You know, there's quite a big summer ahead in terms of Sunderland AFC. You know, on the pitch and probably off the pitch. You know, with all the sort of owner rumours and all of this sort of stuff. I said, Sean, you kind of mentioned it a little bit before. You know, obviously we're in talks with Broadhead to be brought back. Rumours of Clark, Sanderson, you know, these types of players. I think, are there anyone else that stands out to any of you guys that, you know, maybe we could just be maybe bringing in on a free, or someone that just says, oh, you know, I like the look of him for us in the Championship?
Michael, you're probably the best man for. Is anybody available free wise?
Funnily enough, I was actually looking. Well, there's
Free
three
agent?
players I can think of on a free, but the issue is wages. The issue is, and I don't know what our wage budget is. The three I'm thinking of: Tom Lawrence, who's leaving Derby, who's obviously have just gone down to League One, but I think Tom Lawrence on a free. Why not? I think we should be looking at someone like that. I know he'll have suitors, but come on, like Sunderland should be in the conversation for a good majority of good Championship players, because people should be seeing us as a big draw. The next one is Andre Gray. I think that's less likely, because I think you'll demand too much money probably. And the last one, and it might be like an experienced goalkeeper to help out Anthony Patterson. He's quite old, but I think Ben Foster on a 1-year deal. But again, same problem, wages, and it depends if he wants to stay in London. I don't know. Those are the three I can think of on a free. There's a few other ones that I could think of that I'd want to try and maybe go and get, like say Jamal Lowe from Bournemouth, maybe Kiefer Moore. Obviously, you touched on there, Jack Clark, Broadhead, Sanderson. I think Jack Clark, I think we should go for personally, because he's got 1 year left on his contract apparently, and I can't remember who said this, but there's reports, so don't shoot me on this, it's just reports, that Tottenham apparently are up for selling him or offloading him. So for me, that makes sense, and it also fits what the type of thing we're trying to do now, which is get a player for younger, you develop them for a bit, and then sell them for a huge profit. I don't know. But as far as free agents go, like I said, that's the three that I've said. Tom Lawrence, Andre Gray, and Ben Foster. But again, Tom Lawrence is the only one I could maybe see happening out of that lot, maybe. The other two, I think their wages would be a bit too much, especially Andre Gray's.
Yeah, I mean, I was having a look at, I mean, there's some good suggestions there, Michael, to be fair. I mean, Tom Lawrence, I think, would add quite a lot of quality. Andre Gray, I mean, I've never really sort of had any shine to him at all. I think he's pretty bang average, to be honest. But I mean, Ben Foster, I'd take Ben Foster. And then even I saw Kieran Westwood has just been released as well. Obviously, ex-Sunderland as well. Maybe for a season, just as that sort of backup. Maybe not a bad shout. I mean, Dom, you got anyone that you'd like in the pipeline, realistically?
Realistically, I haven't a clue, because I don't know if we're in the position of where Sunderland, we should be able to have that pull power basically on club, or people are still looking at us, well, you just got out of League One. So I don't know how we look to players, obviously, but I know it would be very hard to do, but that Scott Twine from MK Dons I always like the look of, but it's just the thing of, I don't like, part of us thinks, well, he's in League One, little test his water in the league above, but on the other hand, I'm like, there's just something about it. I don't think we'd be able to get him, but I'd love, especially if we don't manage to get Broadhead back, I think Scott Twine would be a great little addition. I agree with Michael that Tom Lawrence is the kind of player that we should be going for, because he's got that Championship experience. That's what you need in a player. You don't need people who you think might do it, or like, as much as like gambles have sometimes paid off for us, I think we should be looking at people with Championship experience just to like settle down, because let's be real, the one thing we don't want to be doing is trying to jump the gun and like, let's just go for the title, let's get promoted, because we've seen clubs do that and they've just stumbled down the league. Realistically, well, personally, you guys might think different, but I think we should just take a while just to build up until we're ready, because I see Sean with his hand up.
No, it's. I was just reading through some of the comments there. That's all.
All right.
Jason Ashman said that Lee Johnson's did more for Sunderland this season than Alex Neil has.
Oh, here we go. Back on Lee
Here
Johnson.
we go.
Don't take us back.
Sean, we moved on from Johnson about 25 minutes ago, mate.
He's obviously tapping the mic with that comment. He's got to be. Jesus Christ, believe be here.
He's another one from the comments, and I'm not sure what to make of it as a suggestion. But I've heard it said before. What about Dwight Gale? Would we sign Dwight Gale?
Interesting.
For me, I'd take him in a heartbeat. But the problem is we've got some Sunderland fans that'll go, you don't want him because he's at Newcastle. Dwight Gale is a proven championship striker. For me, it's an easy decision. But the problem, again, the big problem is wages. You'd have to take a significant wage drop to come here, I think. Because remember, even though we're coming to the championship, you don't want to be spunking loads of money on wages because that's what we did under Ellis Short, and we very nearly, well, we could have gone bust, we could have gone, or certainly gone into administration. We have to spend within our means, so we have to watch what wage budget we're given.
That's true. I mean, what do you guys think on about the squad and things like that? Ross Stewart in the championship. Do you think he could do it in the championship, or are you sort of undecided? We're just going to have to see what he can do. It's a big step up, and I'm not sure he's the man. Maybe he's in the first season where we're just sort of, just trying to not stay in division, but trying to.
I'll tell you one thing for certain, Sean. We can't rely on him as much as we did.
Oh
no. That would be lunacy. We were very, very lucky he didn't pick up an injury. Yeah. And by the way, the lad was getting battered in some games and got no protection from referees. Yeah. So you wouldn't have been surprised if he did have some time out. So we've got to get some backup in that area.
I think we're going to need at least 2 new strikers in the summer. Whether or not he's going to be the main one, I'm not sure. But look at Ross Stewart. He's had an unbelievable season. I put my hands up. I said they wouldn't get 20 goals, and he's got, I think, 26, Michael, I think, in the end. So, he's done really well. And it's his work rate off the ball as well. What's impressed me more, he's a team player, unlike Charlie White, who just used to get the goals on a plate. Ross Stewart has literally grafted for a lot of his, of his goals. But I do believe that next step up, I think we're going to need a bit more quality in the striker department. I think Ross Stewart. I'm seeing this now, and he proves us wrong next season. I love the lad. He's done wonders this season. He's getting us promoted. His goals has, definitely played a part. But I just believe that in the championship, when there's tough games and you need a clinical striker to score in one chance in a game, he's not that type of guy. I think he misses too many chances for me. But look, let's hope he can still do a job. I mean, he proved us wrong last season, so let's hope he can do it again.
Sorry, Sean. Ross Stewart would certainly. I think we'd rely to a degree on Ross Stewart for his work rate off the ball, or on the ball, even if he's not scoring. But I agree with you. He's not going to get anywhere. I don't think he'll get anywhere near the amount of goals that he'll get in League One, because he did miss a good number of chances. And in the Championship, you're not going to get as many chances. I still think that to a degree you'll get a good number of chances because the bottom end of the Championship probably isn't that great. But I think just to rely, I think we'd be foolish to just rely on Stewart. Like Gary said, I do agree. We were very lucky he didn't pick up an injury. So I think we need to get at least 2 strikers, and preferably at least one of them. If it's Broadband, then the other one has at least got to be someone who is of really, really good Championship proven quality.
Ben, I just want to quickly read through the live chat, Paul, because there's kind of feeling I was like
trying go for it, mate.
Keep people involved.
There's some really good debates on there, actually.
David Punchin says, great weekend, start to finish. As put on the screen there. Finally get the win at Wembley, but the highlight of the weekend was DJ Sizzler's shorts. So there you go. Geordie boy, that's Jordan Newcombe, I believe. I'm just trying to make some comments out. 2 secs. Duran Punchin's in there. Loved the whole weekend apart from falling asleep in the hotel. David Punchin again. Lee Johnson, best footballer. Bolton Rio was the worst performance in our history. James Whale says, at Sean's age, you shouldn't be having that much caffeine. Oh, thanks for that.
That's you,
Christopher Younger is in there. Acacia Cameron Jude. I think I'm just talking there. Gary Keir, don't want to be in this league permanently, Michael. We'll be back in the Premier League in the next 3 years. Well, look at, you never know. Luton have proved that they had jumped from the League One to the Championship. They finished 6th and they had a really good season. Them didn't spend a lot of money. It's just what they did behind the scenes, I believe, and their success. And they nearly did it in their first season. So look, we can do it. We'll be the biggest club in that division. Dare I say that, Michael? Because people say,
yeah,
we are.
We are.
Yeah.
There's no debate. We are.
No, exactly.
Gary Kisser,
the only other one maybe is Blackburn that could come into the conversation, but yeah, I think easily.
Yeah. I was going to read this comment. It doesn't matter now. Right. I'm just trying to get the bottom. I'm just trying to get through them all because this is the last one. John says Sean Swan. He hasn't had any Red Bull. Nah, I'm off the. I don't drink any drinks now with sugar. It's all sugar-free ones from now on. Sugar is not the way forward. Definitely not. Mac and Mice, do a question for Sean. Oh,
no, don't go there, Sean.
I wonder what the question's about.
Sorry, I'm not reading that out. Tricia says Alex Neil has done more for the club than them two put together. Well, I've got to agree because it's my mother. 90% of us, Craig went with it. I don't know what's happening there. Statement of the season goes at Alex Neil. You need to put your big boy pants on and get on with it. Yeah, that was great when he said that. And I think Alex Neil he's got a way with words with the reporters as well. He doesn't take any crap, like, does he? He just tells them how it is, And I think the reporters are a bit like, ooh. Patterson's kicking is a concern with these other areas of goalkeeping are great, says James Whale. Right, I'm nearly at the bottom now. I'm just reading out the. Right, I'm not reading the way Philly comments out. Sorry, I'm trying to get past that now. In case you're coming, Jude, we're probably waiting until Bailey gets back from Australia. Yep, obviously he's got a contract on the table, but his agent might be trying to get a bigger slice of the pie. Maybe there's a bigger offer somewhere else. We don't know. Right, sorry, Ben. That's I'll just thingy through them there just the comments.
No, you're all right, mate. Yeah. I mean, I've been seeing it flicking by, but there's been so many in there, isn't there? I mean. Yeah, and Dom's got a couple of admirers in there as well. But, anyway, I
just need to give a shout out to Acacia because she's taking all sorts of stick on there about her split allegiances, but she fights back like a good one. She's not the biggest, but she doesn't take any crap. So, well done, Acacia. Good for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
To be fair, she did admit to me she doesn't mind Chef Wed now, so it's all good.
Don't wind her up.
Too late, just have.
So I just wanted to ask a couple of questions, actually, just sort of about the squad, sort of reflecting back on the season. I know a few people did them on Twitter probably about a good few weeks ago, but now that the season settled down, we've all had a little bit of time to reflect and just to really sort of soak in the crazy season that we've had, being a fan of Sunderland. So Gary, I'll start with you, mate. So this is probably a no-brainer for the majority, but your player of the season?
Yeah, Ross Stewart. You know it's coming. Yeah, he was immense. Having said that, start of the season, I thought Winchester was very impressive. Lost his way a bit second half of the season. Lovely to see Dan Neil coming through. I know he didn't play so much under Alex Neil. And the other one I would give a shout out to, because I was really doubting him for maybe the first 3 months, but he ended up being one of our most influential players, and that's Pritchard. And he probably ended up being our best signing from a year ago, from the last close season. I kind of feel with Pritchard, and I'm hoping it's going to happen with Roberts as well, is they've not fulfilled their potential, even though they've moved around and been touted as the next big thing. I think Pritchard might have found his home at Sunderland, and he could be a mainstay of the team for the next 2 or 3 seasons. Hope he stays injury-free.
Yeah.
I love Alex Pritchard. I think he's been a superb signing.
Yeah, I mean, when he's fit, he's, was the best player in League One, Never mind how much Andy Hinchcliffe went on about Barry Bannon and all of this.
No.
When fit, Alex Pritchard, no question,
Quality.
best player in League One.
Yeah.
Michael, player of the season?
Well, just to point out, Andy, I love Chef Wed and therefore can't keep my bias out. Hitchcliffe, when he was talking about Barry Bannon constantly on the TV, all Barry Bannon did was the one pass that led to the Chef Wed's goal, which was because we switched off down the left-hand side. Apart from that, he was very ineffective. So, yeah. But
we marched out. Took him out of the game. didn't we? Particularly in the first leg.
Exactly.
It was
You know,
too easy.
09 completely marked him out the game, and in the second leg wasn't much better. But
Right.
you know, but as for, I mean, look, certainly the signing. Oof. I mean, if you look at it across the season, yeah, Ross Stewart player of the season, not just his goals, but the fact that his work rate, like we said, when he's not scoring, he's so vital to the team. Signing of the season, I mean, who said this? James Whale. One of the things he said that I agree with him is when he said best signings, Bart and Pritchard. Yep, I think both of them have proved to be very astute signings. I'd even put Patrick Roberts in there. I think it was a Gary who said that Pritchard and Roberts haven't fulfilled their potential yet, and I agree. And especially with Roberts, because he hasn't had a home. He spent the last few years going from on loan to different clubs all over. So I think the fact that if we can offer him a home and have him settle down, I think it could do something. I agree with Sean when he said earlier, I think Roberts is easily good enough for the Championship. And if you give him the opportunity to settle down, when you get them back to full speed, you saw what impact he made in the playoffs. And Chef Wed, for example, had Championship players they would argue a Championship level standard. So you could argue we played against good players still, and he still stood out. So there's that one. But yeah, I mean, like I said, player of the season, Stewart, signing Pritchard, Thane, as you know in the chat, he absolutely adores him, and he was going on about him before we signed him. Which he likes to remind me of every time we went to go on a stream together, which was quite funny. But you know what? Yeah. I'll give a mention, I think, to Dan Neil, and I feel a little bit for him because obviously Alex Neil hasn't been playing him. He's barely featured. But when Lee Johnson played him, I think Dan Neil, considering that was his first season of senior football, he hadn't been out on loan anywhere. I think that, especially that being considered, he was very good. But if he's not, I suppose with Dan Neil, if you're not playing him, though, you might as well sell him and get some money. But yeah. Like I think who was it who said? Someone, I think James Whale said again. It said it's bloody great being a Sunderland fan again. It's just nice for once to actually just to ask us how nice is it just having this conversation about who we think is good for the Championship and the player of the season who's player of the season in a promotion season rather than League One.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely spot on, Michael. I mean, Sean, what are you thinking?
Me player of the season. Well, I think the most obvious one, like I think I said this as well, obviously Ross Stewart. I think you've got to look at him, and the goals has been crucial. But just touching up what Gavi said, I think Pritchard, man, he hasn't not in some of the games when he's been fit in that. You can just see Pritchard's just. I mean, he was obviously you got to think he was an ex-Premier League player. You can see he's just again a different gravy, he's different league above it in this League One. And I think us to get him to come to our club in League One, I think that speaks volumes. People say Lee Johnson was the reason from coming, but I still think he would have come anyway. I think Pritchard's just got that. He's got that bit of quality, man. And I mean, we've missed that in a lot of the games as well. In some of the games where he's been injured, we just missed that little bit of. He's just unlocking defenses and these little skillful touches and things like that. I think getting him back for the last few games of the season obviously proved crucial, hasn't it? And I think I'm going to agree with Gary, and I have said Ross Stewart in my interviews, but I think Pritchard's just being that. He's just got that quality about him, and I think I'll give it to Alex Pritchard. I think he could do it in the Championship 100%. I think Roberts can do it in the Championship 100%. I think we've got some players there that can definitely do it. I mean, if you can just bring in 4 or 5 decent players next season, why not?
Just add the players around them, and I think you've got a competitive Championship team.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something now, Alex Neil, I'm not settled for mediocrity at all. He'd be wanting us to, have another good season next season. He'd not be wanting to just, finish mid-table. He'd be setting the high standards and, trying to even get in the playoffs, I think, like.
Yes, sorry, I'm just looking at Dave Punchin's comment here. It's just Alex Neil turned water into wine with Corey Evans. Oh, Dave, yeah, good one, that mate. Yeah, good, nice one. Oh dear. Yeah. I mean, I think sort of agree with what you and Michael are saying there. I think we've got a really decent core at the minute. I think we've got sort of that solid foundation. It's just about building on that now, getting a bit of class here, getting a bit of steel in midfield, a couple of centre halves and whatever. And I think we can be a real Championship contender sort of maybe the low end of the top half, but you never know. It's Sunderland at the end of the day. We could be in the playoffs, but I'm not gonna go there just yet. Dom,
just to quickly add into it, like what Sean said earlier, before you go to Dom, that if we got Alex, this is what makes me think about the recruitment team. I think and especially like Speakman deserves a bit of praise for this, or a bit of credit. If you can get Roberts, you can get Bart, you can get Pritchard to come to us in League One. In League One, who can you get to attract to us in the Championship?
There you go. There you go. I mean, exactly where to get Premier League players now, like these potential superstars or stars.
What, Jadon Sancho?
these big clubs in the Premier League will be wanting to loan the potential, the next generation of stars.
Yeah,
we could be looking at them players and they could get the chance. I mean, what was he called from Chelsea? Went to Derby. He's went back to Chelsea now.
Mason Mount.
Mason Mount. His name just went there. And Mason Mount. I mean, he had a good season for Derby in that year when they under Frank Lampard, I think was the manager. So look at, I mean, we could attract a lot. The quality of players now will be much better now that we're in the Championship.
Yeah, and I mean, we love a good loan signing at Sunderland, so I wouldn't be surprised, Sean, get a couple of sort of these young wonder kids, they want to come to a season, finish in the playoffs and the Championship. That would be very much appreciated, I'm sure.
Just say quickly, we know what it's like with Sunderland, particularly on this channel. It's doom and gloom, but I tell you what, when things catch fire, optimism just runs riot.
It does. But I mean, you're usually the doom and gloom provider, Gary.
I am, yeah.
Yeah,
and I'm
which
feeling
is fine.
very
We need the contrast.
I just want to start because when the chat starts mentioning Zlatan and Wan and whoever else is on there, I'm starting to get twitchy. I mean, there's optimism and that's something else. So I need to calm things down, lads. Come on.
Yeah. The experience head to bring us all back down again.
Flan matter. Oh god. So sorry, Ben. By the way, I know you were going to dominate.
No, you're right. I mean, Tom, I'll quickly go.
Made him wait, poor bloke.
Get your word in. Get your player of the season in quickly.
League 1-9 bias aside, it's obvious. It's got to be Ross Stewart, especially goals, hold up play. It's just got to be. Also, I agree with everyone else. Pritchard, after I believe it was the Shrewsbury away game, really came into his own. He did look very ropes and very shaky first off, but he obviously proved the doubters and myself wrong. Also, like people have said, Neil deserves credit at the beginning of the season. Winchester, there's so many, for once, it feels weird saying this. We've actually got decent players, and they're actually proven that they can play football. So being able to cap off a season and not be slagging off all the time, it just feels it's refreshing. But yeah, it's got to be Stuart.
It's uncharted territory, isn't it? We're not used to it.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, when we were coming out of Wembley, we were all like, "Well, what do we do now?" We're normally on the train sulking. What do we do now?
Yeah, I know.
It was weird.
I know. It's like you say, it's just so refreshing to be able to sit now and think, right, we're in the Championship now. Let's try and build something here. Build on the quality we've got already, and let's start pushing for the Prem. That's, like you say, it's a weird feeling, isn't it? But
just a quick one in terms of next season's squad. It comes to mind there's at least 3 players who I think we haven't yet seen the best of, but they can do a very good job for us, I believe. One is Diaku, who I still think's got a lot to learn, but I think he's very capable. Personally, I wouldn't be disappointed if we didn't get Clark, because I think Diaku, in some respects, is the equal of him, and we've already taken him on a 2-year contract. I think it is. Matete, I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. I think he looks very, very capable. Still very young, lot to learn. And the other one who's going to be coming back from injury is Niall Huggins, who did look decent when he first came in, but obviously got the injury. So those are 3 players in the squad who maybe won't make, won't get any headlines, but I think they could be key players for us next season.
Yeah, I mean, spot on with Huggins. I think, it'll be nice to put players in their natural positions. I mean, especially sort of fullbacks. We've been playing, even when we were playing 3 at the back, you got Sirkin and Winchester playing in the back 3. Probably Winchester hasn't played centre half until he came to Sunderland. And Sirkin, obviously, you know, he can slot in there, but he's a left back, you know, so playing people in their positions, get them playing how they know how, you know, it'll be refreshing. And I think, you know, as soon as Huggins come back, you know, I think he can probably have a lot to offer. The same with Matete, still very young, like you say, Gary, but, you know, when he's played, you know, still a bit raw, bit of that, you know, that youthiness about him. But I think he's, you know, like you say, he's got a bit of potential. I don't know what any of you lads think, you know, sort of 3 interesting names there to sort of potentially build up on into the Prem.
Well, in regards to Niall Huggins, he can play left back and right back, can't he? So I think when he got into the squad, into the team, he looked decent, but then he got the injury. I think just set him back, and he was obviously out for the rest of the season. I think there was some potential there. I think there was a lot of good comments about him, saying like he's going to be a good fullback. But like I say, unfortunately, he got that injury, and I think for me, Winchester, he's still. I mean, he's a centre midfielder, and he's been playing right back, hasn't he, as well? Winchester, and he was playing the back three, wasn't he? So again, it shows you that we're gonna need players in the summer. I think these type of players. I think Winchester will probably just be squad players. I think Luke O'Nien as well. Sorry that Luke O'Nien's got a lot of fans and they love him, but I think in the championship,
your tears for after the stream, Dom. Yeah,
I think it's a big step up for Luke O'Nien, and I love him as a lad. And I think he gives it 100%. And I think in the semi-final he was brilliant against Sheffield Wednesday, in the second leg especially against Bannon, and even at Wembley he was brilliant. And Luke O'Nien, I think the good thing about Luke O'Nien is he's versatile and he can play in many positions. He's played centre back, he's played left back, he's played right back, he's played right wing, he's played midfield. I think he's played everywhere apart from up front and in goal. Yeah. So he's a good person to have in your squad because he can play in many positions. Who was the other guy we were talking about just there? Was Huggins. Who was the other one, Gary, you said again? It was
Matete.
Oh, Matete. Matete, I like the look of Matete, but I think he's a little bit sloppy sometimes in possession of the ball, but I think that can be obviously worked on. But he is, there's a lot of good things I've seen in him, and I think, you know. But then you look at it and you think he's stepping up to the championship. So I'm still a bit undecided, but I think there is potential there. But stepping up a division, I mean, is he going to be able to produce it in the championship?
Maybe loan him out to a top end League One club.
Is that Michael? Sorry.
So maybe loan him. It was, I think someone put Gary K was talking about Trey Hume as well, but I reckon that with Trey Hume and Matete, especially because Trey Hume's not been getting game time, and Matete obviously has been in and out of the team. They're both younger players. You don't want them sitting here and not playing. So why don't you try and get them out maybe on loan? Because I bet you League One clubs would snap your hand off for both of them on loan.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, it was strange when Hume started, didn't he, against Rob at home towards the end of the season, sort of not had a look in for a while, and then Neil said, "Right, go on, lad, you're playing." To be fair, I thought he had a decent game. I think he certainly got a lot of quality going forward. Obviously, defensively, you know, he's still a little bit, but he was sort of first 10, 15 minutes of that game. He was the one dictating the play, the speed of it on that right-hand side. So he certainly got ability. And I think Matete as well. And like you say, Michael, I think a lot of top-end League One clubs, you know, they'd bite their hand off for players like these to sort of try and get them into that playoffs. You know, it could be it's a win-win. You know, they're getting game time, they're improving, and they're helping another team, you know, boost themselves up the league. So I think there's certainly quite a few questions that are going to be coming out sort of this summer, you know, with different players and all of this sort of thing. Will they stay? Will they go on loan? So it's certainly an interesting time, but it's, you know, like we say, it's good that we can have these conversations and say, you know, we can afford to loan out some young players now. We can afford to be looking at good, you know, championship players to be persuaded to come to Sunderland and be part of the movement to get back to the Prem. And I think a lot of players will be wanting to be a part of that. I don't know about you, but I certainly would.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we've been going on for an hour and 20 minutes now. So I don't know if there's Sean, do you want to say anything else about Lee Johnson before I end?
No, but I want to ask you on. I put a tweet out the other day. I think you're probably just saying it, but it was about your overall rating out of 10 for the season. Obviously, on Twitter, you can only put 4 options, and I just went with like 8.5. Was it 8.5, 9,
I think you went 8.5 up to 10, didn't you?
Yeah.
So it was like 8.5, 9, 9.5,
I knew you get people who would say, well, I think 7. Well, like you see, you've only got 4 options, and I just went with a positive tweet instead of like thinking negative because we've just been promoted. So I just want to ask you guys, obviously your season, your rating out of 10, and your reasons for the rating out of 10. Michael, I'll just ask you first, and then let's go around and then.
Of course, you put me under the bus, don't you? Okay. My personal rating would be an 8 because for every high, there was a big low. There was a couple of times we got hammered. There was the period, I think in February, I think it was. Well, put it this way: if we hadn't beaten Wigan, we would have gone the whole of February without winning a game, which is very tragic in itself.
Yeah.
And like we keep saying, expecting to go up isn't arrogant. So and we shouldn't really be. It's not really good enough to be going on that sort of a run. Having said that, it bumps it up to an 8 because of the fact Alex Neil came in and had the good run towards the end, and the ultimate end game was achieved. We got promoted. For me to have given it a 9 or a 10, we would have had to have got top 2. But at the end of the day, it's an 8 because I can't really give it any higher than that, given some of the negatives. But at the end of the day, we got promoted, so we can't complain.
Dom,
I have to agree. It's an 8 because other than the fact that if those Tongtons at like Portsmouth, Rotherham, Bolton, etc., I think if those scorelines weren't so big, I think the only real dark patch would be like the February run, because I think overall we've played some very exciting games. I think there's only like maybe 3 or 4 games this season where you've thought nothing's really gone on here. It's been an interesting season, whether it's been positive or negative. It's been a very it's never a dull moment with Sunderland regardless, but this season especially, it's just felt like you always have to keep your eye. You can't look away in case you miss something. So for that, obviously, on top of promotion, and since Neil come in, there's just been like a big buzz around the club. So yeah, obviously it can't be perfect because there has been negatives about this season, obviously, which we won't get into. But I think 8 is a very fair score. And the last thing I'll say is not related to the season, but it was just a pleasure to meet you lot in person on Wembley, and it was nice to just see us all together and have a lovely day together. And that's my piece.
There you go. It wasn't like you see. I think I'd sing Ben. I think it was at Wembley with Ben, and I was stressed out.
Yeah.
I was trying to do a live stream, and it was just I had a feeling it wasn't going to work because the buildings around Wembley and the connections just awful. But Dom, it was like it was great. It was great to see all you guys. Like you said down there, London. But with Ben, when I say Ben, I was like a bit stressed out when I was like sort of.
I could tell you were trying to interview some lad, and I'm here like stinging in there. Oh, how are you, mate?
And then there's Spider-Man just swinging in the background.
Yeah.
No, but like you see it, nice words, Dom, and Dom's the editor now, so it's great to have Dom on board. Even though we didn't put the interviews up till 2 days after the game, which I think cost us a few thousand views, but never mind. That's a bit of a miscommunication between me and Dom, and I think Matthew's always of the opinion where. Just put them up when you want to put them up, and they'll get the views anyway. But I think if we put them up on Saturday, I think we would have gotten near 20k. That's just my opinion. But anyway, moving on now. Gary, your rating out of 10 for Sunderland, and your reasoning why?
Yeah, I'm going to be the negative one again. Look, if you mapped our season on a graph, it would start quite high, wouldn't it? 6 consecutive home wins, I think it was, looking like pretty good. And then it goes really wobbly through the middle, doesn't it? And then finishes on a high again. For me, 7.5 out of 10. I can't forget the fact that we got tonked at Bolton Wanderers. We lost away at Cheltenham Town. the whole Defoe debacle, the whole Roy Keane debacle. Look, when Sunderland got out of that division, we knew it wasn't going to be easy, and it was going to bring its ups and downs, and it did. I'm not too bothered about rating the season as a whole. I'm bothered about how it ended and where I think it's going, which is all positive. But yeah, I can't get too excited by the season. I'm old enough to remember the 105 points we got under Peter Reid. That was a 10 out of 10 season.
Yeah.
Promotions under McCarthy and Keane, those were the 8s and 9s for me. So I won't be too negative about it. But yeah, just to finish off, it was great meeting everybody who I'd not spoken to before. Ben, Johnny, we've had some good crack on the channel this season. It was great to meet not just you lads, but your families as well. Good crack on the day, and it was all part of that experience. Loved it, just loved it. It was just a fantastic day, and I'll that's me being positive, Ben. So,
are you saying that's as positive as you're going to get?
You can put me on mute.
You started down there, but you did get it back up again, Gary. So I'll give you that.
Just to sort of jump in, I think it's like quite a humble note that it feels very fitting. We got promoted in the season where we've lost Louise Wanless, we lost Graham Wright, we lost Michael Waggett, and all that malarkey. So, but it's a shame. The only real negative is that they weren't here to experience it because they deserved it. But at least we got promoted for them.
Well said, Michael.
Yeah.
And by the way, anyone else who I forgot to mention, please say in the comments. By the way, but yeah.
Anyway, Ben, you're obviously rating out of 10 for Sunderland's season, and your reason why?
Well, I mean, my heart says an absolute 13 out of 10 because obviously we got promoted, but me head probably agree with the majority of you say about sort of that 7.5, 8. A lot of good stuff, bad stuff on and off the pitch, a lot of talk, a lot of action, and quite a lot of not a lot of action as well. Obviously with the whole Defoe thing and the whole off the screen stuff with Donald and Mevthin and saying that they were still involved and all of this, and there's been a lot of stuff that's happened off the pitch this season, probably far more than I can remember for a while. But however, at the end of the day, we are now a championship club, and for me, that would just rocket up to about a 20 out of 10.
Just
we're out of
negativity, mate.
Bye League One. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for the memories, but
we hope to never be involved ever again.
People in the chat, it's just obviously they've obviously put in their ratings as well. Just read a couple out. My rating for the season is 3-1-2, says James Mill. I don't know what he's on about there. Gary Keir says 10 out of 10 for the season because we got promoted, and 10 out of 10 for all you guys that fans react. That's a nice comment. Ethan O'Neill says 4 out of 10 for Lee Johnson, 11 out of 10 for Alex Neil. Overall, 9 out of 10 for the season. How are the lads? Said Ethan O'Neill. So, in case you're coming, Joe, 10 out of 10 for Alex Neil. Since he came to Sunderland, he's done a fantastic job, I must admit. And then for me, I'm going to go with... I'm told between. I'm going to say 8.5. I'm just going to say 8.5 because I think for me, winning the league, even though we are, and it's not a part of our history that we're going to always remember. We'll definitely not remember. We shouldn't really be in this division. It's only the second time in our 140 or 40 plus years history. So for me, it's just a relief of getting out. That's what it was for me. So if we won the league, I would probably give us a 9.5, 10 if we won the league, or if we finished in second, I'd probably somewhere around there. But I think finishing, just getting promoted, we've done the objective of getting out of the division, and that's for me. That's the main thing. That's So, but it's how we've done it, and I feel that if we had Alex Neil from the start, I think we would have went top 2. I think we would have won the league. I think we would have won it by at least 10 points at the end, even 15. I think it would have been that. So convincing if we had Alex Neil from the start. But look at the way you got to look at it.
Thankfully, in the end, it doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. As Michael keeps on saying, if you're finishing the playoffs, you've got to win them. We shouldn't have really been in the playoffs, but thankfully we're squeezed in them. last game of the season against Morecambe, we just got there in the end. But we need to go on that run, and we've done the objective. We're getting out of the division. 4th time of asking. That's the way you've got to look at it. So I'll give it an 8.5.
Especially when you look at the division next year, when you got Peterborough, Derby, Barnsley, Sheff Wed, Ipswich, Portsmouth, Charlton, Bolton, Oxford, MK Dons. Exactly, Sean's reaction says it there. I'm so relieved we got out of that, because that is going to be a tough. That is going to be a competitive league to get out of next season.
That's going to be a hard league to get out of next season, and then we've getting out at the right time. If we didn't get out this season, we'll never get out. I firmly believe if we didn't get out this season, even under Alex Neil, it would have been really hard. But look, we're getting out. It's a relief, Michael, but in going to the season, you've spoken about going to this season in a positive frame of mind, but to think, look, we're going to have a good season next year, and behind the scenes, it looks like Donald and Meffin sold the shares to apparently, fingers crossed, John Rees, the multi-billionaire, the Swiss, obviously the Swiss banker. He's a local guy as well from Sunderland. John Rees has been rumoured, so if this guy's coming in, he's worth about 5 billion. So these things is only going to help us along our way. So it's positive times for our football club. Positive times.
And not to mention the fact that you could also have the YouTube channels or whatever. The interest will grow because we're in the Championship now. Absolutely. We're in a league where people, dare I say, half give a hoot. No one really cares. No one really cares about Leagues 1 and 2, unfortunately, for clubs in there.
Exactly. I put a tweet over the day, or somebody tweeted me and Michael in, and they're saying we've blessed with we've got some great YouTubers, Southern YouTubers. Jam Sarni,
that was great.
14,500. You've got Michael Bowers. You've got Jazzy and Steve, who's fans react. You've got My Mistake. You've got loads.
How can you not mention the good old Jam Sarni?
I mentioned Jam Sarni, didn't I?
Oh, did you? Okay. Never mind. I just love the way he has his Lancashire accent. He goes "Stay in my light" every time he talks. He pulls a strong emphasis of light. Bless him. But yes, I'm rubbish at accents. Sorry.
But look, I just want to say a massive thank you to all our subscribers throughout the year. It was liked our videos, watched them, commented. I think it's been a great year. We've added some great people to the channel. Johnny Hawley's come. Ben was already part of the channel. We used to do the live streams during lockdown. Gary's been there from the start. Gary, I love Gary. At least listen to Gary all day. He's a great guy, and I think our channel's just grown, and I think we're just and me, Matthew, and Paul was discussing about bringing more people into the team if we can. So if you're interested in joining SAFC Fans React, send us an email at safcfansreact@gmail.com. Just send an email, and if you think you can add something to the team, just send an email to us, and we'll reply to you. But we are looking at bringing in at least 5 new people for the start of next season. So please, if you could, send an email safcfansreact@gmail.com. So I think that's about it. But Ben, I'll leave it with you.
Yeah, no, cheers, mate. I mean, the one thing I just want to say before I end it, that, obviously it would have been nice to finish top 2, but I tell you what, Sean, give me that Wembley final experience any day.
True. That's true.
I would have taken that so much more than finishing first.
I know. Do you know what?
Well, that's the best way to get promoted if you're going to go up. Like
it is, and do you know what? I want to get top 2, but just that feeling of winning that Wembley, it Ben's and Michael is right. It's like we've raised the demons. I know we won in the Chequers against Tranmere, but there was no fans in there. This was the time when there was fans there. And since 1973, 85 against Norwich, we lost. 88 in that tournament, we lost. 1990 against Swindon, 92 against Liverpool, 98 against Charlton, 2014 against Man City, 2019 Portsmouth, and then Charlton again in 2019. So we've just keep on losing, but this time we wouldn't be denied, and nearly 50,000 fans were there to
remember.
To cheer us on.
Remember as well, Sean. What was it, Aaron, the Doncaster Rovers fan, when you interviewed him outside the Keep Moat, and he went, what was it? He said, "I'm going to go for Sunderland to finish the playoffs, but I'm going to go for a playoff win." Granted, that was under Lee Johnson, to be fair, so you need to give him a shout out for.
I just want to say, you're all sort of like saying we went through the playoffs, wasn't it great at Wembley? Or is it? I just say you're all masochists. That's the problem. Because if you enjoy that pain and suffering, it's all right now. But at the time, we're all twisting. We've had
Gary, we're just hardened. That's why.
pulling our hair out. Honestly, I just want us to invincible season. I know I can't
you know what, right?
all the pain and
Gary, you have to bring the tone down, don't you? Every time we're on a high there.
Do you know the clip of the dog?
Bring the voice down again.
Oh, Gary. You know what? Do you know the clip? There's an animated clip of a dog, and it's got like everything's burning all around him, and he goes, "This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently." And that's like us for the last 4 seasons. This is fine. Losing to Cheltenham Town. This is fine.
DJ said, my shorts 10 out of 10. He says, DJ says that Dave Watson is a legend. There's a guy called John Pemberton says, well said, Michael. My cousin Michael Harfield died a couple of months ago, age 50 of motor neuron disease. He was a massive Sunderland fan. So
yeah, rest in peace then. Michael.
Rest in peace, pal. Yeah. But I think it's been a great year for our channel. I think this year we've done really well. Won 3,000, I think, just short of 3,300 now. But you know, the next on the road to 5K. That's the next milestone, and then 10K, and so on, isn't it, Ben?
Absolutely.
5K, you'll easily hit in the championship.
Oh yeah,
easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope so. So if you're watching, you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Sean,
it's absolutely free. Doesn't cost a penny, as Dom's just put on there. Does not cost a penny.
Can someone please make that phrase on a T-shirt?
I know, yeah.
A picture of Sean Middleton's face. Imagine like it's absolutely free and it doesn't cost a penny. Thumbs up.
I'm just thinking, Mike.
Sean's face with his red cap on. Yeah, that was
Jesus Nazareth might be able to come up with something so.
Jesus, get it going.
Jesus, if you happen to be watching, please get on it now, please.
Do the right thing, Jesus. Come on.
He is absolute quality. Isn't
that right, Sean? Come on, Sunderland! Aye!
I crashed me van out way home. Been some magic moments this season, like with the interviews. I tell you, there's been some. One of the first games.
He's got a very interesting, twisted, and disturbing imagination all at the same time. That is funny.
Never change, Jesus. Never change.
Absolutely. Well, this is. Well, I feel a bit sad, really, to say that this is the last one of the season, but I'm glad to say that it is the last one of us being in League One. And the next time that we will be all together chatting will be when we are talking about looking forward to the Championship fixtures and all that will have to offer in the second tier of English football. So, Gary, thank you. Dom, thank you as always. Sean, thank you so much. And Michael, thanks for joining us this evening. It's been a pleasure to have you on. Always a pleasure. And thank you, everyone, for watching, or if you're going to be catching up later in the week. Thank you for an amazing season on behalf of everyone at Fans React. Onwards and upwards, the road to 5K, like Sean says. It's been an unreal season, and let's hope that it will be unreal next season as well. So thank you all so much. Enjoy your bank holiday weekend, and we will see you in the Championship.